Once upon a time, in a land far away, nestled between rolling hills and dark, foreboding forests, lay a small village called Evershadow. The villagers were a simple, hard-working folk who knew the forest was a dangerous place. They told stories of strange creatures and whispered voices that haunted the depths of the woods, warning their children never to stray too far. Yet like all stories, there was one that chilled their bones more than any other, the tale of the Whispering Woods. Long ago, before Evershadow was a village, the land was ruled by an old, powerful witch named Morwena. She lived deep in the heart of the forest, in a twisted, blackened tree that seemed to pulsate with a life of its own. Morwena was feared by all who knew of her. She had the power to summon storms, speak to the dead, and, most terrifying of all, control the very minds of those who wandered too close to her domain. Morwena had a daughter, a beautiful girl named Elara. Elara was kind and gentle, a stark contrast to her mother. She longed to leave the dark forest and live among the villagers, to experience the warmth and light that she had only heard about in stories. But Morwena, fiercely protective and knowing the danger of the outside world, forbade her daughter from leaving the safety of their enchanted tree. One fateful night, a young woodsman named Kale stumbled into the forest, lost and disoriented. The forest had a way of drawing people in, especially those with kind hearts. Kale, with his honest eyes and gentle nature, caught the attention of Elara. From her hidden perch high in the tree, she watched him struggle through the dense underbrush, his face lit by the soft glow of the moon. Elara couldn't resist helping him. She descended from her tree and guided him to safety, speaking in hushed tones so as not to alert her mother. Kale was enchanted by Elara's beauty and kindness, and over time a forbidden love blossomed between them. They met in secret, sharing dreams of a future together far away from the shadows of the forest, but their happiness was short-lived. Morwena, ever vigilant, discovered their meetings. Enraged by her daughter's disobedience and the intrusion of an outsider, she cast a dark spell. The forest itself seemed to come alive with her fury. Trees twisted into grotesque shapes, their branches reaching out like skeletal arms. The ground split open, revealing dark chasms that whispered terrible secrets to those who dared to listen. Morwena captured Kale and brought him to her tree, where she imprisoned him in a cage made of thorny vines. She cursed Elara, binding her to the forest and ensuring she could never leave. Elara's beauty faded, and she became a spectral figure, wandering the forest in eternal sorrow. The villagers of Evershadow soon learned of the terrible fate that had befallen Kale and Elara. They dared not enter the forest, for they could hear the whispers carried on the wind, the mournful cries of Elara, the mad rantings of Morwena, and the desperate pleas of Kale. The forest became known as the Whispering Woods, and it was said that those who ventured too close would be driven mad by the voices they heard. Years passed and the tale of the Whispering Woods became a cautionary story told to children to keep them from wandering into the forest. But legends have a way of fading, and as generations came and went, the terror of the Whispering Woods became a mere shadow of what it once was. One autumn, a curious young girl named Lila, with a heart full of adventure and a head full of stories, decided to uncover the truth about the Whispering Woods. She was drawn to the mystery and the magic, the forbidden allure of the unknown. Ignoring the warnings of her elders, she ventured into the forest. As she walked deeper into the woods, the air grew colder and the trees seemed to close in around her. The whispers began softly at first, like the rustling of leaves, but soon they grew louder, more insistent. Voices called her name, told her secrets, begged for release. Lila pressed on, her courage unwavering. She followed the whispers which led her to the heart of the forest, where she found the twisted, blackened tree. The sight of it filled her with both fear and fascination. She saw the spectral figure of Elara, who approached her with sad, hollow eyes. "Please," Elara whispered. "Help me break my mother's curse." Lila, moved by Elara's sorrow, agreed to help. She knew that to break the curse, she would need to confront Morwena and free Kale. Gathering her courage, she called out to the witch. Morwena appeared, her eyes burning with anger and ancient power. She towered over Lila, her presence oppressive and dark. "Who dares to enter my forest?" she demanded. "I am Lila," the girl replied, her voice steady. "I have come to end your curse and free you, Elara and Kale." Morwena laughed, a sound that sent shivers down Lila's spine. "You are a foolish child," she hissed. "But if you wish to try, then you must face the trials of the forest." With a wave of her hand, Morwena summoned the forest's horrors. Shadows detached themselves from the trees, forming into nightmarish creatures with glowing eyes and sharp claws. The ground trembled and the whispers grew deafening. Lila fought her fear, using her wits and bravery to navigate the trials. She outsmarted the creatures, avoided the traps, and pressed on. Finally, she reached the cage where Kale was imprisoned. With a determined heart, she broke the thorny vines that held him captive. Together, Lila and Kale faced Morwena, the witch, weakened by the release of her prisoners, could no longer maintain her hold on the forest. With a final, desperate scream, she vanished and the dark magic dissipated. The forest began to change, the twisted tree straightened, the chasms closed, and the whispers ceased. Elara, free from her curse, regained her beauty and joy. Kale, reunited with his love, thanked Lila for her bravery. Lila returned to Evershadow as a hero, her tale of courage and kindness becoming the new legend told to children. The Whispering Woods, once a place of terror, became a symbol of hope and redemption. And though the forest was still a place of mystery, it was no longer a place of fear. From that day forward, the villagers of Evershadow lived in peace, knowing that even the darkest curses could be broken by a brave heart and a kind soul. And the whispers in the woods became a memory, a reminder of the power of love and the strength of the human spirit.